Hey everyone! Welcome to our new live stream Q&A series, Inside the Guide's Mind. I'm Mike Blake at MB Guiding, your Vancouver Island hiking guide. We're streaming to YouTube and Facebook Live from the Sandwich Peninsula on southern Vancouver Island in beautiful British Columbia. Say hello in the chat and comments. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We'll get started right away. Hey, Lara upstairs. Welcome back. Hey, it looks like Colin's watching. Smiley Colin. Say hello. Right on, folks. Yeah, so this is a new thing for us. It's just open freestyle Q&A. We're going to go beyond the trip reports and dive into the mindset behind great guiding. So if you have any questions about planning adventure, mapping your route, predicting the weather, choosing equipment, creating a menu, or maybe you're just curious about our upcoming 2026 or 2027 guided trips, this is the time to ask. I'm going to be doing these more often, and it's just a great way, instead of me having a full program for the whole evening, is to leave it open to your questions and see where it takes us. So during the live stream Q&A, you can ask me questions and I'll share my insights, professional tips, and tools to help you plan better adventures. Plus, you definitely want to stick around for a fun prize giveaway. We want you to participate, so ask lots of questions in the chat or comments, and participation in the Q&A is going to be part of entering the giveaways. Hey, Colin, there you are. Hey, Paul, back from Chilliwack. Welcome back. Hey, Samantha. All right, that's great. Saskatchewan, welcome. Yes, we got folks watching us on our Facebook channel and on YouTube, which is another new thing we've been doing this season, is we're broadcasting to two platforms at the same time. A couple of different reasons for that. I won't get into too much of the technical detail right now, but it's been better all around. So we're slowly building our channel. We're not up to the 50 million subscribers yet, and it may take a long time, but if you haven't visited us, our YouTube channel, it's at Mike Blake, and you can go over there and check us out and like and subscribe if you want to join into the fun there. Hey, Keith, welcome. Welcome back. Hey, hello, Globe Sisterhood from Calgary. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Right on. Yeah, so I'm just going to do a quick intro for those that are new, and then we'll get into Inside the Guide's Mind. So I'm Mike Blake, an Association Canadian Mountain Guides hiking guide. I've been living and working on Vancouver Island since the mid-90s. You may know me through our MB Guiding website or blog, and maybe you've heard about our guided trips and workshops before. I've been backpacking for around 45 years, guiding for over 20 of them. If you go to mbguiding.ca, click on the About page, and you'll see a little bit about me there. Scroll down and you can see certifications and all the goodies there. Yes, so I specialize in outdoor education, instructing hiking and backpacking skills like trip planning, wilderness navigation, and risk management. I'm also a wildlife viewing guide for the Commercial Bear Viewing Association of British Columbia and an instructor for the Interpretive Guides Association. My partner Lara and I started mbguiding.ca in 2014. And Lara's a big part of MB Guiding. She's the creative writer behind all of our online content, and she also holds the record for participating in the most MB Guiding trips and workshops. And Lara's hanging out in the chat too. You can say to her, say hey over there. All right. Yeah, thanks for joining us, folks. How many we got on here? Oh, we're almost up at 10. Right on. Yeah, so we're going to give away 3 awesome prize packages today. The grand prize package winner will receive a brand new Coast Mountain High Routes guidebook. This is an epic book, and I've just been checking it out here. I'll just pull it up on my screen share. Yeah, this is from a colleague of mine, John Baldwin. He's done all sorts of maps for skiing in the coast, sea to sky corridor, and some maps on the island. He used to be the fellow that did all the coastal hiking maps for Nooka, North Coast Trail, and others, Tachu and Hesquiat. This is his new masterpiece. It's amazing. So I highly recommend checking it out, even if you don't win it, because if you're hiking in the Coast Range on the mainland, you definitely want this book. So that's going to be the grand prize winner is going to get that. And then the runner-ups, not that it's runner-up material. This is top-end Vancouver Island books here. This is Blisters and Bliss, A Trekker's Guide to the West Coast Trail, signed, co-authored by West Coast Trail legend Wayne Aiken. So you definitely want to get in on that. We've also got Gear Trade sticker packs here with the famous West Coast Trail slug for everybody. So all 3 winners. And then I'm also going to include personalized coaching sessions with myself. These are just like the personalized coaching sessions we give our clients that sign up for our guided trips. You definitely want to participate in that. So ask your questions in the comments. That's one of the steps to getting into the giveaway. Okay, I'll share more details on how to win the giveaway towards the end of the live stream. All right, let's see how many people we got now. Yeah, so give us a thumbs up if the sound is good. You can see me, hear me. Good, I've gotten some. All right. My tech advisors let me know things are good there. Excellent news. All right, so let's get into inside the guide's mind. This is the fun. So we're hoping you're going to ask us questions, and then I can answer them, and then that'll guide the chat. So ask your questions in the comments. I've got some pre-questions here that we've collected over the last little while. Yes, so a question that's come up multiple times today, which has been interesting. Wednesday is typically when I do my in-studio at the desk work. So I focus Wednesday to be near workstation so I can do meetings, these live streams in the evening. But I get a lot of questions during the day. And a question that I've been getting is what sets us apart from other guiding companies? And I think if you go to our MB Guiding website, you'll see right off the bat the trend here. So first of all, it's me doing all the guiding. So we're a very small company. I plan and guide all the trips. I don't have any assistant guides. Clients ask me who the assistant guide is, and I always point and look at them and say, you're the assistant guide. So our trips are focused on experiential learning and outdoor education. So I do a lot of coaching. I collaborate with the clients leading up to the trips for months, sometimes years in advance. Right now we're booking a 2027, so I'm already collaborating and coaching clients for 2027 trips. But you'll get the drift of the theory behind our guiding philosophy here when you go to our website. The home page here is our blog. So we've shared over the last decade tons of free content for the public to help them plan trips like a pro. So for instance, let's go to the West Coast Trail guide. So this is a trail guide that we've developed since about 2014, and we've built on it every year. So it's got all sorts of different sections in it that will help you get your trip sorted like a pro. This is the same instructions that I use for planning my professionally guided trips. The real good stuff in here is the trip reports. So we've made a big effort in 2025 to put up as many trip reports as we could. So we did all 5 trips are all documented here for the very first time. For the 10 years leading up to that, we would handpick one here, one there, depending on whether the clients were interested in being a part of the trip report or not. In 2025, they all seem to be, so we went ahead and we did all 5. So it gives you a ton of info because every trip is completely different. Same trail, I've done it 30 times approximately, and it's completely different every time. Not just what direction you're going, but the conditions and certainly the group. So the group dynamics have a big impact on how the trip turns out. So you want to go check out our trip reports because these are our itineraries. So if you're wondering, where do we camp every night? How long do we hike each day? It's all documented here. And the last season, we got right into the nitty gritty details here. There's even a trip report from Lara she did with her friend in September this year. So there's one that's a non-guided trip, which is really interesting from her perspective, which would be different from mine. But there's lots of goodies in here, photos, route conditions, weather that we experience, wildlife sightings. It's all in here. The tracks, so our durations, lots of maps, just lots of goodies in there. So that's a big part of what we do with MB Guiding is create this online content. And we do it not just for the West Coast Trail, that just happens to be the most popular one, but we also do it for the North Coast Trail, the Nootka Trail, and a bunch of trips I do in Strathcona Park, so non-coastal, so mountain backpacking trips, like a solo trip I did up on the Moat Lake Circuit. So I do spend a lot of time in Strathcona in the summertime, and we do hike in the mountains too, so we're not just coastal trip oriented. Yeah, if you go into our testimonials, that's going to give you the answer you're looking for how our trips go, because our trip participants are our best spokespeople. And you'll get a theme going here. You'll see what people are saying about our trips and what their experience. And it's really about that experiential learning, outdoor education. A lot of our clientele is quite self-sufficient in the backcountry. They just really enjoy the logistics advantages of joining a professional guide. They also really appreciate the camaraderie that gets created on a trip with a bunch of other like-minded people that are hiking and backpacking together for a week. And the learning is a huge component here. So if you want to learn how to hike like a pro, these are the trips that you want to join. I also work with my colleagues. So I have several friends that run companies on Vancouver Island, and we work together. We started a Coastal Hiking Guides Alliance, where we combine our efforts and share information about trips and also people, because sometimes somebody will approach me for a trip and it's not really suited for them. And then they can go check out a couple of these other companies. So if you're curious about that, go to Coastal Hiking Guides Alliance and you'll see a list of the other companies that we work with. So that's just a little bit about our trips there. Now I see that generated some questions. All right. Hey, Melanie, welcome from Calgary. Garisha Grawal, 7194 is asking how heavy my bag is going to be. Well, that's a really good question. So the lighter, the better. The least amount of stuff for the most amount of fun. That's our theory. And so I work with all our clientele to try to get their bags as light as possible. That doesn't mean you need to go spend thousands of dollars on the ultralight gear. It just means you have to think about each item you're bringing and whether you really need it or not for a safe and fun trip. I would aim for a 7-day West Coast trail adventure for our pack average for all the trips that I've done over the last decade plus, under my pack weight, which is 40 with 5-ish pounds of guiding emergency equipment, which you wouldn't be carrying. So that brings you down to that 35 mark. 30 to 35 is comfort level, I think, all the trips that I've done for most people that have the most fun on our trips. And then the lightest pack we've ever had on a 7-day, one of our participants had a 25 pounder and they were smiling and giggling the whole time. And they weren't rumbling or grumbling very much at all. So thanks for the question. I use a thing called Lighter Pack here, and this is really helpful for figuring out how much is in your pack before you even put on your back. So this is a free app, lighterpack.com. It works online, so just in any browser, and anybody can join up. There's no cost associated with it. What's really cool about it, once you categorize everything in here, it gives you a really good overview of your pie chart to see where your weight's built up here. So I can see right off the bat, my food is heavy and my clothes are heavy. So thinking on that, I look at those two categories and I go down and I drill into there. What do I need in here? What do I not need? How can I make this lighter? So I go through and weigh each item on a kitchen scale or postal scale, and I calculate it and I figure out where I can lose weight. My base weight for guiding for a 7-day trip is around 25 pounds. And my total, including things I'm wearing while I'm hiking, is pushing up to 45. So my pack weight on my back is going to be my base weight plus my consumables, which is just around that 40 mark there, you can see. So yeah, aim low. The lighter, the more fun, but not too light. Because you definitely, if it's your style, you want some comfort too. All right, so good question. Keep them coming. This is how we're going to do this Q&A session. Lara is sharing links in the chat too, so go check out the chat. You'll see the link to lighterpack.com. Samantha Ridgewell, 9793. I'm just going to call you Samantha. Samantha's asking, let's see if we can pop this up on the screen too so everybody can see it. All the websites tend to warn you about how difficult this hike is, yet I see videos of kids and elders complete the WCT. Can you share your opinion on what the trail is like and how to prepare for it? Absolutely. Great question. The number one thing I'd recommend is going and checking out the content on the Parks Canada West Coast Trail Hike of a Lifetime page. This is where everybody ought to start if you haven't already gone there. Parks Canada is very detailed and very well organized here as they talk about things. And there's the answer to your first question on this page at the very top. Click on that section. Is this hike for you? Right off the bat, this hike is not for everyone. The West Coast Trail is an iconic backcountry, multi-day backcountry trail that is a challenge for even the most experienced hikers. Hikers climb more than 100 ladder systems with a heavy pack, so we can reduce our pack weight. Trudge through deep mud. It has been dry. Wade through fast-flowing rivers. Typically, we're going to take the cable car if they're fast-flowing versus wading through them. So a lot of these environmental factors we can mitigate when we're out there. Endure rough West Coast weather. I've done the trip multiple times where it was sunny every day. I've also been out there when it rained every day. So you need to decide whether you're going to make the West Coast Trail reservation and whether it's going to fit you and your party. This is really important. And a lot of people skip over this because they don't want to hear this. But I'm adamant about sharing this information. And I've had many conversations with Parks Canada about this. We work together. We're a licensed operator on the trail, and I work with Parks Canada. This is a remote Type 3 trail. So that means it's not groomed. It's not like Banff or Jasper where you have these 2-meter wide trails where every stick and rock is brushed off to the side and you can just cruise through it. It's a rough single track trail inland, and it's rough coastal on the beach sections. So type 3 means that there's a lot of maintenance that is ongoing and there's a lot of damage that's ongoing. So there's many times where you're hiking through things that you shouldn't be hiking through, you would think to yourself. But that is the draw of the trail. So that's what makes it exciting for a lot of people. It's a remote type 3, and if you want to look more into that, what that type 3 is, I can pull up the website. It's a document I got from a presentation from Parks Canada that describes what type 1, type 2, and type 3 is. So if anybody's curious about that, I can try to pull it up in my bookmarks. But the main thing I'm trying to say here is that hikers should expect missing or rotten boardwalks, missing planks, exposed nails, non-functioning ladders and bridges, missing ladder rungs. So that may include consecutive missing rungs, so more than just one, non-functioning cable cars down trees on unpassable creeks and rivers. The West Coast Trail is for hikers who are proficient in multi-day overnight backpacking. So if you start now, you can get proficient pretty quick, do multiple trips. This is really important. I'm very clear about sharing this with all my clientele in our first meeting. Experienced group leaders cannot compensate for inexperienced hikers. It just isn't possible. Me as a guide, I can guide you to get ready for the trip, and I can show you where the hazards are while we're on the trip, but it's you that is moving through the terrain. And there's 8 of us or 7 of us in our groups. We have 7 total. It's impossible to point out every single hazard. So you need to have some awareness of the risk involved and also where to put your feet on the trail. I do my best to show everybody the first few kilometers, and then they get tired of me saying, watch out for that rock, watch out for that hole, watch out for that slippery log, watch out for that slippery root, because the whole trail's like that typically. You need to hike long distances through rough terrain carrying a backpack that has weight in it with everything for your trip in there. So there's no porters on this trail. You got to carry your own gear. We don't carry gear for the clients. Everyone brings their own gear. That's why you want to go light. Flexible with your hiking plans. So we have a lot of flexibility built into our trips because there can be delays. There can be somebody gets injured, we got to evacuate them, weather changes, route changes, all sorts of different things. When it gets really serious out there in the really stormy season, some hikers have been stuck out there for several days before they got out. So these things, if you check them all off, then the West Coast Trail may be for you. Now let's go down to who should not consider it. No prior multi-day backpacking experience. So I work with all our West Coast Trail participants to make sure they do at least some backpacking before they put their first steps on the trail. And that could be a simple trip. Just get your gear out there, set up your tent in the rain, try it. It's a lot different than the dry. And hike with a backpack. You can do that before you start. And then if you have injuries, like reoccurring things, something to consider like knee, back, ankle, they'll just get agitated out there. Recent surgeries, all these things we clear in our medical form. So we have a very strict registration process, which asks lots of questions based on doctor's advice. And we look at things and talk about things in the onboarding process. If you checked off any of those boxes and the West Coast Trail is not for you, I think there's a little bit of flexibility in there. You got to think about it realistically. And then it talks about alternative options. And then the final thing here is, are you prepared for a multi-day backpacking hike? And if you read through this and it sounds fun, then you got to do the West Coast Trail because you're going to really enjoy it. So great questions. And Paul, I think, is dropping some great commentary in there too. Paul Levitt on YouTube. Previous experience, multi-day hikes invaluable. You can be comfortable with 15 to 20 kilometer day hikes, but you will still feel exhausted after multiple days on the West Coast Trail. Absolutely, Paul. 100% agree with that. Hey, you're welcome, Garisha. All right, that was great. Let's do it again. Pick another topic. It can be anything. It can be West Coast Trail. It can be other trips I do. It can be an app that I have that you're curious in. I've got my device here. Let's see if I can pull it up. Oh, it looks like it's not connected. I'll see if I can connect that while you're thinking of questions to ask me. I'm just gonna plug back my phone, share apps that I'm working with on my phone. Hey, you're welcome, Samantha. Yeah, and feel free to ask more questions if you have them. Let's see if this works. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so just a collection of apps I'm using on my devices. So all my pro tools that I have on board, I share with everybody. Yes, the Global Sisterhood. So I'll get into that. So I was just on a call with Brett Marl today, who is the developer of the West Coast Trail app, which is amazing for the West Coast Trail. I use a ton of apps, and you can see here, this is just my navigation page. This is my interpretive page. So that's all like identifying critters, birds, animals. This one here is all different apps that I use for navigation and collecting data. So weather apps, well, Avalanche Canada's in there because it's ski season now. Tide apps, obviously the West Coast Trail app for the West Coast Trail. Caltopo, Avenza maps, a couple of different Garmin maps, Peak Finder, Gaia GPS, Google Earth, a couple of new ones, which are really cool. Outmap, and one that's just like it. You can see the icon, they're competitors, Granite. And then I've got my weather bird, the Kestrel app there. That's what you see at the bottom. So yeah, if you have any questions about these, because I tend to in my previous live streams, I always say I'm gonna get to the apps and I don't get there. So I'm just gonna throw it out there that if you wanna chat about apps, I've got them loaded. And then also anything too on the browser. So I've got everything tabbed here. So I've got all sorts of info in here on weather forecasting, route finding. For instance, let's go look at Windy, my favorite weather forecasting app. And let's see what's going on in Mount Washington, which we've been trying to get up to all season, delayed opening. They did get some snow last night. So I'm looking at the webcam and it's stuck. They got about 10 centimeters. It looks like it's coming down right now. So this is an amazing weather forecasting app, folks. If you've never checked out Windy, it's free. There is a paid version, but this is the free version. And it's amazing because you can see weather stations all around you. You can see the weather forecast from, I think, 6 different models now. So this is what I use for my weather forecasting, and I can compare trends. Global model, European, icon, Meteo Blue, high resolutions. So a ton of info in there. So if I have any questions about weather forecasting, that's another one I've been jumping over in our previous live stream. So taking this inside the guidance mind opportunity to get into this detailed stuff too, if anybody's interested. So just throw that out there. We have mobile apps and we also have browser-based apps. All right, let's see if that got some questions going. Yeah, the Global Sisterhood, that app, the West Coast Trail app, this one is really fun. If you're hiking the West Coast Trail, you definitely want this app. You can use the free version to plan out things. It's amazing. Brett has put in, I don't know how many hundreds of hours into this. It's absolutely phenomenal. I plan all my guided trips on here as well. So let's see if I can pull some up for the season ahead. Saved. There's some from last season. What are we doing here? What's our first trip in 26? Oh, I haven't loaded up my May 1st trip. So let's do that for fun. This is, I'm going to show you how to do a trip on West Coast Trail app here. It's got hiker reports. Okay, let's set up a trip. So we're going to change a trip. My start date is May the 1st, 2026. It's probably a quicker way to get there. Let's click on there. So this is all free. The app, you can use it for free until you decide to take it offline. So when you're away from cellular or Wi-Fi, then you need to get the pro account, which I think is about 20 bucks, which is really reasonable, I think. May 1st, 26, next. I'm going to be starting at Gordon River, going to be finishing at Pachina Bay. 3 nights. So yeah, we do the trail faster when we're doing recon May 1st. I do it in 3 nights versus 6. Guided trip, guide's pace. Recon trip, Mike's pace. So 3 nights. Ooh, this was my plan from last year. That was pretty good. I think I may have skipped, I went to camper instead. So typically I would do camper first. If the conditions are good, I might push to Kool-Aid though. So let's leave that in there. And then cribs. Yeah, let's do cribs. And then Chikawis. Sounds good to me. So 3 nights. And then what it does is once you input that data, so your trip duration, start date, and your campsites, it'll generate your trip cards for you. And each of these trip cards is a section. So for instance, day 1, section 1, kilometer 75 to 69, is going to be taking you right across the top line here. No beach hiking. It's all inland, and it gives you a nice breakdown of what you're going to see out there. So it's like a little story it's telling you. It's like our trip report, but the preview. What we tell you from the trip report is the after. This is the preview. So highlight sites, distances. It gets really detailed too. So if you go down in here, water sources, ladders. So it's not just giving you where those ladder systems are, it's telling you how many sections are there and how many ladder rungs are in each section. So I always get the question, how many rungs are on the trail? I don't know. I've never added them all up because we don't typically take all the ladders on the trail. We avoid some of them because of tides and things. But we could go through this app and add them all up if we really wanted to. There's a lot of ladders, 100. Really cool stuff here. The First Nations translations, so that's getting built out. Brett's collaborating with the local bands to build this out, which is really cool info there. The shipwrecks, which I'm super excited about. I love seeing what shipwrecks are out there. Well, we don't actually see a lot of them because they're under the ocean, but we see pieces of them, and then it's neat to know the history about them. Daylight, so your sunrise, sunsets, which is super important for hiking in the summer and winter when you're on skiing. You can add notes to it, high low tides. That's where it gets really good. So Brett, his whole idea for this app was to make it so it was easier to figure out the tides and when to go on the low tide versus the high tide routes. And so he did a good job of that. And then finally, your campsites. It's got a campsite map which shows you where the camping area is, where the outhouse is, where the food bin and the food pole is, and where your water is in location. So yeah, super amazing. It does this for each day. And if only Brett had this for every single trail on the island, I would have different versions of it. But yeah, so I plan with all these apps. I need to use all these apps to plan my trips. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Lara just shared windy.com in the chat. Hey folks, whoever's hanging out still, it's Mike Blake MB Guiding. We are doing Inside the Guide's Mind. This is our new Q&A series, and we're going to be giving away prizes. This is the grand prize, John Baldwin's new Coastal Routes, amazing picture book with tons of routes in there. That's going to be the grand prize. And then we're going to give away a couple of blisters and bliss. And then we've got some Gear Trade sticker packs. And I'm going to throw in a one-to-one personalized coaching session for each winner as well. These are just like the ones that we do with our guided trip clients. So stick around if you want to enter the prize draw. All right, let's see what other questions we can come up with here. Hey, folks that are just joining us, I just see somebody else just popped on there. It might be on YouTube. Welcome, Mike Blake here at MB Guiding. Just doing Q&A, live Q&A, folks. This is your opportunity to ask me questions about anything to do with guiding. Yeah, so weather, route planning. I got my follow-up questions here too, or ones that I got before, so I'll get into there. So I got that first one, what sets us apart from other guiding companies? And then while you're thinking up your questions, oh, I see one coming in from Keith here. Yeah, there's about a, just so you know, there's about a 10-second delay between the live and the comments follow-up. So that's why I pause and jump back and forth a bunch. So Keith is asking or saying, let's see what he's got here. You mentioned being stuck on the trail for several days. It's the weather related, such as high. Yes, Keith, absolutely. So I've never personally been stuck on the trail for 7 days, but people have been stuck on the trail for several days, and it's typically because they got stuck in between two rivers. Michigan and Darling do not have a way across if it's high water. So that's the spot. You can't get off the trail if you're stuck in between those two on a high water. Unfortunately, there's no way around it. So yeah, you can be camping at Darling or at Michigan. If you're camping there, you'll be able to get out. But that's why, yeah, weather, high flow, just like we're getting down in Washington right now. Things are getting cut off there. Number 2, going up to Siemens Pass, I saw some damage up there with that major atmospheric rivers that just went through. So yeah, it's the water, the high water levels. And when you mix those high flowing rivers with high tides, then you can only imagine you're waiting even longer. So you need low tides and low flow. Often in the summer when we're out there, Keith, we're not using the cable cars because they're a lot more energy than they're worth. If you can walk through the creek, you know, through this much water, it's way less energy. So typically in the summer, it's quite dry out there. It does rain, but it's quite dry. Let's actually, that's a great segue. Keith's got a great segue for me here. I'm gonna pop over to our trail guide here. Scroll down the homepage, it's on ambiguiding.ca. We'll look at the West Coast Trail Guide. And we're going to go down to weather section. You can click on there. So we studied the weather before our trip using a few different resources. So the marine weather is also helpful. So let's see if I got this bookmarked up here. Yeah, so this is a simple weather forecast for mariners, but seeing as you're hiking along the coastline, it's super helpful. It mainly deals with wind and wind direction, but you can see that now's not the time to be hiking out there with these gale force winds going up to 40 knots near noon Thursday with seas of 4 meters. So 4-meter sea with a 4-meter high tide. Thrasher Cove is closed for business. You won't be hiking there. And it looks like there are westerly winds pretty much consistent here for the next 3 days. So yeah, weather at this time of year, that's why the trail's closed. It's just nasty out there when there's a storm. It does get nice weather in the winter too. It's just not as often as the stormy weather. And then the other one here is windy. And let's just see if I can pull up. I'm just going to close that and just see if, while I do a search here, if I can pull up the Bamfield climate normal so you can see. Just give me a sec here. You can either do Bamfield or you could do Port Renfrew, but this is station data from Environment Canada. So here, we'll check this out. This will give you an idea. This is the north end of the trail, Bamfield. You can also pull this up for Port Renfrew, the south end. This is the season. So right now we are in December. So it's not quite the wettest month, but it's shaping up that this year it's going to be wet. This year it's going to be very wet. But we're looking at over 300 millimeters, almost 475 millimeters of precipitation just in the month of November. This is average over 30 years. Yes, it's changed. It's 2025. It's a bit different, but you get the general idea. We're looking at trends here. You can see here that July and August, even though they're the driest months comparatively to the rest of the year, you still get precipitation. So folks that are planning for July and August that are hoping for the best weather, you do have precipitation. It does rain, and I've gotten soaked out there in July and August, but it is warmer. So you're not going to likely get hypothermia in the midsummer, especially if you have the proper gear. But it does rain, 50 to 65 millimeters, and that could come on your week that you're out there in July and August, or it can come in one day when you're out there in July and August. So hopefully it doesn't on your trip. But we've had wet days in July and August. I've had some of my best conditions in May, early May, the last 3 years in a row. So I'm going to push it to a fourth time coming up here, this 26. We'll see what happens. I may run out of luck though, but every May 1st start date that I've had in the past 3 years has been amazing. And you can go check that out in the trip reports here. We got May 1st to 423, May 1st to 424, and May 1st to 425. So I've done it 3 years in a row, opening day, and I'm going to add one in there. Every May for the past 3 has been really good, but it does rain in May, as you can see here. It does rain in May. You get higher warm temperatures, but because you're on the coast, you've got the cooling of the ocean. So even on the coastline, you get hot, you get cold, especially in the evening. It's just the nature of having an ocean right beside you hiking. Super humid. This doesn't show humidity, but if I showed you some of my stats, let's go actually look. Let's look at humidity here. Let's take one from May 1st to 4th. I should have some humidity readings here. Humidity, 65%. Ooh, that's a dry day. Humidity, 92%. That's more normal. It's typically quite humid out there, so it feels chilly. Soggy morning, so we did have a little bit of sogginess in the evening there, that one evening. Yeah, you got to just plan for any eventuality and hope for the best. That's just the way it is on the West Coast Trail. You could get amazing weather or you could get wet weather. And it's when you get so much wet, it just piles up. Lara's saying the WC May 26 better be good. Yeah. Okay, great. The Global Sisterhood on YouTube has a question. My friend might join me. He's a slow walker but has the stamina to finish this hike. How would you address his slow pace? So, great thing about the West Coast Trail is you get your start date. So let's look over at the reservation system here, and I can take you through a quick run through of just the very beginning of it. When you book the West Coast Trail on January the 19th at 8 a.m. Pacific time, you're going to pick your start date. That's the most important. Parks wants you to put your finish date in just so they have an idea of how many people are on the trail at any given time. But what's most important is your start date. So you need to know that. And then you need to know your party size. That gives you the amount of tickets you're trying to register for. And they want to know your exit points so they can figure out your ferries. But what it doesn't say here, right here, is that you have up to 14 days to hike the trail. For us, a traditional guided hike, we're doing 7 days, so 6 nights. For me, for a recreational hike, I'm doing half that pace, or twice as fast, half the amount of nights. So it's faster, but I'm lighter, and my objective is to finish the trail sooner than later versus stop and look at every single view and count every flower and everything that we do on our guided trips. Wildlife viewing takes hours and hours sometimes per day. But if I'm just hiking it to recon it, I'm gonna do 3 nights, but I have 14 days to do it, so 13 nights. So to answer your question, Slower pace can be easily adjusted for by just taking your time. So more nights out there is what I'd recommend. You could even do a couple of nights at some of the really grand beach sites, like some of the ones I'm thinking of, Carmana Creek, beautiful beach site. You could camp there for 2 nights. Another one, Susiat Falls, you could camp there for 2 nights. So you could have a whole rest day. Do that a couple of times on the trip. You've just increased your 6-night hike to an 8-night hike, so slower paced. Another thing I'd recommend for a slower walker is stopping at Nitnat and staying at the Crab Shack at night, because it'll break up your cribs to Susiat Day, which has no other official campsite in between. You can wild camp in between there in certain places, but I would recommend staying at the Crab Shack. So that's what I would do. Great question. Keith's asking about the rain again. I see your theme here, Keith. This is Keith's on Facebook. Does the preset forecast mean lots of mosquitoes no matter what? And a bug net is optional or essential? So typically no bugs on the West Coast Trail other than like little sand bugs. I've hardly ever seen mosquitoes out there, really rarely. It's wind and moisture. Mosquitoes don't like it out there. They like inland for sure. I've never seen ticks out there. The bugs out there, the main one, are the mice. And at most of the campsites, especially when it gets busy in the summer, you're going to be seeing mice at the campsites. And if you leave any food out, they're going to get in there. Birds too, they're really smart, especially the corvids. So like the stellars, the whiskies, and the ravens and the crows. They're way smarter than us when it comes to walking away from your food, and they're waiting for you to do that. And they're the bugs out there. So yeah, the ones that are stealing your food, I'm much more concerned about them than any little insect. So bug net, I would say, is non-essential, not optional. I just wouldn't bring it. When I'm hiking in Strathcona, though, especially in June, July, then a bug net for sure. Let's see if I missed anything up here. I'm just scrolling back up in the questions. All right, folks, if you're still hanging out, it's Mike Blake with MB Guiding. We're doing Inside the Guide's Mind. This is our second episode, so we're doing them a few weeks apart. Q&A, live Q&A. We're going to do a prize giveaway, and we're getting ready for the big planning session coming up on January the 7th. We're going to be doing the planning session for the West Coast Trail to help you get your reservation. And then again, so I'll run you through all this on January the 7th. And then on January the 19th, I'm going to do this live. So I've done it every year for the last 3 years. So I'll do it again. I'll book my recreational trip, which we do not have access to recreational tickets. This is a recreational trip. So I'm booking with everybody else. And if you're not sure how that works with the guided trips, Parks Canada has an arrangement with commercial operators and custodial groups where there's a separate allotment of passes that are designated a year in advance. So preceding the season in November, we put in our registration request for multiple trips, and we have 1, 2, and 3rd choices. And then Parks Canada dictates which group gets what. So it's outside of the general public. So the public on sale is going to be on January the 19th, and I'll be right here doing this, working through the system just like you to figure out if I get my May 1st start date from Gordon River, which is the plan right now. Okay. Hey, Mountain Mama, welcome. Mountain Mama hikes. Mice ate my water bladder mouthpiece. Yeah, I heard that happening before. So, especially if you're drinking like and eating at the same time, you get little bits of food on the outside just from the residual that's in your mouth. It takes so little. Their noses are so sensitive. I've heard of mouthpieces getting chewed up multiple times out there, multiple times. Yeah, I would put my mouthpiece in my food storage at night. The other thing I've been doing the last many seasons out there is taking my little water bottle that I keep in my shoulder pocket that has electrolytes mixed into it. I don't put electrolytes in my main water bottle. It's just clean water. But the one that has electrolytes, that goes into my food bag as well at night. Anything that smells, they're devious, those mice out there. They are the little bears, we call them, because they're so smart and they know exactly what to do. The story from last year, one of our wildest animal encounters, was that in the morning at Thrasher Cove, we went to retrieve a food bag that was on a food pole, and it was tied up with a line, and we could tell something was wrong when it was coming down. But a critter had gone up into the food bag, and we were trying to figure out how to do it. First, we had to figure out what kind of critter it was because it definitely wasn't a bear. So we open up the food bag. There's some food eaten in there, and there's a very large piece of leftovers from the critter, and it was rodent. It was definitely too big for a mouse. So we figured it was certainly a rat. And the way that the rope was left on the pole, it was touching the ground. So the rat got up onto the rope from the ground and just shimmied all the way up and then down into the bag, chewed its way into the bag, ate the food, left a surprise for the hiker, went back out and went back to its lair. So yeah, that's the mice and the rats. Those are the ones that we're concerned about out there. Yeah, mountain mama. Yeah, keep those smelly things out of reach of any critters. I'm much more concerned about those little bears than the big bears on the West Coast Trail. Even the North Coast Trail and the more wilder trails with less people, we see little mammals causing the most grief versus anything else. All right, folks, we've still got 15 minutes here before I conclude. So yeah, let's just get some more questions going. If there's anything you want me to show you on the apps, I'll see what else I can pull up from my questions here. Oh yeah, the question here. What extra goodies do your clients get if they choose to work with you? Yeah, so the collaboration's huge. Just going back here to the website, when you sign up to our trips, it immediately starts a relationship. We start talking. So I do an onboarding session. I go into project management software, and it's called Basecamp. I've been using it for decades. A lot of businesses use it for organizing their staff. I'm one staff member, so I organize myself, but I have 100 clients I'm working with at any given time. So what Basecamp does is it gives us a platform to share information on, and I share all the content for the guided trip preparation. So more than the goodies that you see on our free blog, you get the inside scoop. So a lot of stuff I share on the live streams that I don't have on the website. People like gear lists. I don't have a gear list on the website because that's something I want somebody to ask me for. So I want to create a relationship and share the gear list with them personally. Same with the menu plan. If you're curious about my menu plan, you have to contact me. But when you join up to a guided trip, the coaching starts right away. As soon as your registration is cleared, and we make sure that the trip is appropriate for what you're looking for, then we start coaching. You and I start coaching together, and I set up video conferencing just like in my station here, and we can talk about logistics, gear, menu planning, risk management, wildlife viewing possibilities, doing the route plan together, figuring out all the campsites we're going to stay at. We do that as a group typically, but I do the one-on-one consulting as well. And I think that is something that would definitely classify in the extra goodies of what the MB guiding participants get. Yeah, you're welcome, Global Sisterhood. My trip, it's a little tricky because so the question from Global Sisterhood is can we, it sounds like, can we make our trips longer? So we can do custom trips. And I work with a couple of different groups every year where I do a custom group. So it's their pace. But if it's a scheduled trip where there's other people on it, then we're doing the 6 nights, 7 days. I do not have another guide to take somebody else at a different pace on our trip. It's myself and our group or team working together, but we do custom trips, and that's the way to make that work. Great question. All right, let's go cruise into some of this other content I was going to share over here. People were asking about my gear list. Okay, so this is the 2025 gear list. I'm going to update it for next year. There's only a few things I'm going to change in here. It's typically I'll get a new item or two per year. I don't go crazy with like everything new every year. That's ridiculous because some of this stuff is pricey. I like to, invest in something that's going to last a long time and use it for multiple years in a row. But you're seeing everything to detail here, like my choice of underwear, my hiking socks, my camping socks, my bandana. What I've done is I've created a list, and it links to the manufacturer's website. If there's a link missing, it just means the link is 404 and I have to reroute it. So let me know if you see any broken links, because sometimes the manufacturer changes their pages. I know Arc'teryx is really good about that. I always end up at a dead page every time I go to their website. But they are also the gear of my choice for the main outerwear. I've been using them for 20 plus years, and they're a platinum sponsor of the Association of Canadian Mountain Guides. But all my stuff I buy on my own. I'm not sponsored by anyone directly, and I do not have any marketing or affiliate marketing set up with any company at all. One exception is Caltopo, the app that we do our route planning is. They give my workshop clients a free month. It's worth like 10 bucks or something. But yeah, I don't make money if you click on these links. That's one thing about our website that I'm super proud of is we don't have any advertising on here. So I think it's a nice way to read content online. There's no ads that pop up in front of you. Okay, so I was just finishing off here with my gear list here, and just let you know that there's tons of stuff in here. It links out to all the different manufacturers. So if you're looking to see what's in my backpack, there's also a link out to my menu plan. So if you click on menu plan, it'll send me a request that you want to see that. So check that out. That'll give you some more information about what I'm eating out there, because that's another topic all on its own. All right, let's wind this down before we go. Paul's saying it sounds like a bandwidth issue. Maybe. I'm streaming out here at 700 megabytes per second, now 741. So I'm on Ethernet, so my signal, I can see it going out is good. I think it's a server issue is what I'm guessing, because I shouldn't have come back if it was my end, which I did. Could be something with the crazy weather. Yeah, let's put that up. Exactly. The crazy weather disrupting signals. I like that. Yeah, the weather. Let's blame it on the weather. Okay, thanks for being patient, everyone. Yeah, this crazy weather. That's what it was. Keith is asking a question. Final questions coming in here. 2 gas canister for each person, or was that for the group? So that's for me. So I bring 2 short, small cans. Keith, 2 small cans. That way, in case one fails, I have a backup. But typically, I can get away with 210 grams for my 6 nights. And if I'm doing a 3-day, then I have tons left over. Great question. Yeah, you're welcome, Global Sisterhood. Thanks for sticking around. All right, folks, it's 5 to 7. Let's get the giveaway out before we lose you again. So let me just pull up my notes here. I got to get my giveaway, make sure I'm giving you the right prizes here. So yeah, we're going to start wrapping up this live stream so we can give away the awesome prize packages. Just shared a ton of info with you. Hopefully some of it was valuable and will help you plan safe, fun, and successful trips in 2026 and beyond. So now it's time for the giveaway. So first you had to have participated in the chat. So you had to have gone into the chat and left a comment or asked a question there. That's number 1. Second, you're going to go to our MB Guiding website and you're going to go to the contact page. There's a couple ways to do that. You can just click on the menu there, the hamburger menu, and click on contact. Or you can scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page and you'll see a contact menu item in the footer. Scroll down into the contact page and you'll see the contact form. So you want to put your first name in here, your last name, your email address so I can contact you. In the subject line, you're going to put live stream giveaway. In the message, put something, question or say hello. You get to decide, but there's got to be something in that box. And then agree to receive communications from me. Send, just know that you can disagree to receive communications with me anytime. So just to enter you into the contest, you will be added to our list. But then if you don't want to have any more information after you win or do not win, then you can just unsubscribe. So that's the contact form. So fill that out. Live stream giveaway is the subject, and then ask a question or say hello in the message. And then tomorrow, I usually do it about 24 hours later. So tomorrow at around 7 p.m. Pacific time, I'm going to do a random draw using a random picker. And so I'll pull from all the people that entered into the chat on YouTube or into the comments on Facebook, and I'll cross-reference with your contact forms just to make sure they all match up. And then I'll contact the winners with instructions and claim your prize. And this is something that has been really successful too for everyone, is if you ask me a question in the contact form, even if you don't win, I typically have time now. I'm not guiding as much. I'm doing instructional things right now, but I'm not out in the field for 7 days. So I typically get back to all the people that enter and answer the questions. So just so you know, there's a bonus round there too. So good luck. These are the prizes. Grand prize winner, runner-ups, and everybody's going to get a sticker, and everybody out of the 3 winners is going to get a personalized coaching session with me at MB Guiding. Yeah, so folks, thanks so much for joining us again. This was our 2nd edition of Inside the Guide's Mind, and we're going to try to do this at least monthly, maybe bi-weekly. We'll see. I'm also mixing in between our other live streams where we're doing trip planning. So the West Coast Trail one's coming up after the holidays on January the 7th. So you want to come check that out. I'll send in a log report to my eCam live people and see what they say, or YouTube, look and see what's going on there. But I'm glad that we could finish this off. Go check out our website, mbguiding.ca. Go check out the West Coast Trail page if you're looking to do the West Coast Trail page. Going to do the group there, chat. You can go and join the group. There's lots of good info there. I think there's like 50,000 people there. And Valerie Burton also has a North Coast Trail page and a Juan de Fuca Trail page. So I'm on there too. So if you ask questions there, I'll typically see them as well. So yeah, we're planning out our winter live stream schedule and would love your feedback. What would you like to see next? More Q&A sessions, trip planning sessions, any other ideas, just share them in the chat and comments, and we'll post upcoming events on our social channels. Click on the events to get notifications when we go live again. And if you enjoyed this live stream, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment if you're keen for more. You can also share the replay, share our website, subscribe to our new channel here, and share our social channels too. So that's all for now, folks. Thanks for joining us. Have a great week, and we'll see you on the trails. Bye-bye.